So by the end of this video, I will be investing 10,000 pesos of my own money into an index fund. Mamimili ako among 4 different equity fund providers and I will show you how I decide and look at the key parameters that are important to me. Konting disclaimer lang para dun sa mga nakapanood ng video natin about my 6 sources of income. I am no longer a financial advisor, so technically, I can't give advice na talaga. Valid pa rin naman yung license ko, but hindi na ako associated with any insurance company. With that said, just use this video as a guide and a mindset template. Yung concept or yung strategy that we will be talking about in this video, hindi lang siya applicable sa 10,000 pesos. Pwede rin siyang gamitin kung if you have less, for example, 1,000 pesos, or pwede rin siya kung if you have a lot more like 100k or 1 million, etc. During this pandemic, dumami yung mga interested sa stock market investing, kaya naman I made this video for the beginners out there na gusto magsimula pero hindi nila alam yung safest strategy, especially kung ayaw mong mawala ng puhunan. Now, para dun sa mga keyboard warriors na magsasabing,
walang safe strategy sa stock market. Sinubukan ko na yan dati at malaki yung nalugi sa akin. Nagsusugal ka lang sa stocks.
let me clarify what I mean by safe, kasi in the investing context, safe is very subjective, very relative. Unang-una, tama ka na walang investment na completely safe talaga and completely guaranteed yung results. If it's too good to be true, then it probably is, and all kinds of investments, stocks man or hindi, they are not guaranteed. This strategy we'll be talking about has a proven track record. Someone with experience in investing would tell you that past performance doesn't guarantee future results, and I would agree with him, tama yun. Pero a good track record is much better than picking individual stocks, especially kung hindi mo naman alam yung ginagawa mo and nagsisimula ka pa lang. This strategy is being used by people who prioritizes comfortable investing and stress-free investing. Lastly, this strategy completely embraces the concept or the saying, time in the market is better than timing the market. Let's talk about peso cost averaging. As I said, I will be buying an index fund later in the video. Pero let's quickly review first ano nga bang index fund and paano siya papasok sa peso cost averaging strategy. There are over 250 stocks in the Philippine stock market and sobrang overwhelming, especially kung beginner ka. Where should you start? What should you buy? Okay ba tong company na to or profitable pa ba sila after 10 years? Ito yung mga kinds of questions that index funds try to answer or try to eliminate. So an index is just a benchmark. Instead na isa-isahin mo lahat ng 250 plus companies sa stock market, an index provides us with a convenient way of taking a glimpse of the entire stock market as a whole. Sa Pilipinas, isa lang yung index natin which we call the PSE index or the PSEI, which is composed of the top 30 largest companies. By investing in an index fund that tracks the performance of the PSEI, you will increase your chances of winning in the stock market. Buying an index fund is just like grocery shopping. For example, naghahanap ka ng fudgy bar tapos napakaraming flavors and gusto mong matry lahat. Hindi mo pa alam kung magugustuhan mo yung isang flavor, kaya hesitant kang bilhin yung isang buong package ng vanilla or isang package ng chocolate. So dito papasok yung index fund. Instead na bilhin mo lahat ng packs, an index fund is like the special package that contains all the flavor variants. Nandyan ang vanilla, chocolate, pandan, and more. By buying this pack, hindi mo kailangan i-adjust yung budget mo para lang matikman lahat ng flavors. Merong 2 general strategies when investing in an index fund. First is lump sum, second is peso cost averaging. Sa lump sum, kunin mo lang yung pera mo, yung budget mo for your investment, and then ilalagay mo siya sa index fund in just one transaction. Full stop. Sa peso cost averaging naman or PCA, instead na isang beses ka lang bibili, hahatiin mo yung capital mo or yung budget mo into smaller chunks and then you will deploy them on a regular interval. So based on general consensus, mas ideal yung lump sum versus PCA, especially kung available naman na sa'yo yung pera, yung capital mo, instead na hatiin mo pa to take advantage of compounding. But if you're like me na wala namang malaking capital, then PCA would be perfect for you too. Sa peso cost averaging, unti-unti mo i-deploy yung capital mo. Let's take my 10,000 pesos. Ang pwede mong strategy dito is 1. You will deploy 1,000 pesos every Wednesday for the next 10 weeks. Pwede ring 2,000 pesos every beginning of the month for the next 5 months. Or maybe 200 pesos every day for the next 200 days, which is possible through GCash G-Invest. So you get the idea. Instead of putting all the money in one go or in one lump sum, you will split the money into smaller chunks para ma-deploy mo siya in a regular interval. Mataas man yung price or mababa man yung price. Yung PCA, wala talaga siyang strict strict schedule that you should follow. Yung main concept lang dito is you will spread out your money, your capital, para mas smooth out yung uncertainty or yung volatility in the market. We will be applying the PCA method in an index fund, pero for now, I will demonstrate using a single stock to keep things simple. For our first example, ang capital natin is 10,000 pesos and we will split it into 5 months. So per month, meron tayong 2,000 pesos. For the first month, ang imaginary stock natin ay may price na 20 pesos. This means makakabili tayo ng 100 shares. For the second month, the price dipped to 18 pesos pero walang problema kasi ang strategy natin is to just buy regularly. Yung good news is, makakabili tayo ng mas maraming shares this month. Exactly 111 shares, which brings our total shares to 211. For the third month, bumaba pa lalo pero wala pa rin tayong pakialam dyan. We are able to buy 125 more shares, kaya ang running total natin is 336 na. Nagkaroon ng big announcement si Imaginary Stock on the 4th month kaya naman tumaas ang demand. The price this month jumped to 23 pesos and we are still able to buy 86 shares with our 2,000 pesos na budget. Total shares so far, 422. Then for the final 2,000 pesos, tumaas pa lalo yung stock price and 27 pesos na siya. Konti lang yung nabili natin, exactly 74 shares, but that's okay because our total number of shares after 5 months is 496. Ngayon, check natin kung panalo o lugi ka ba after 5 months. Ang total na ginastos mo ay 5 times 2,000, so 10,000 pesos, and its current value is 13,392. A gain of 33.92%. Dahil nag-stick ka lang sa strategy mo even during the months when the price is low, you were able to position yourself better. Also guys, just for the record, kung ginamit mo yung 10,000 pesos for lump sum instead na nag-PCA ka, then makakabili ng 500 shares yung 10,000 mo during the first month, tapos after 5 months, the value would be 30,500. Yes, this is higher than the PCA value, pero yung assumption nga dito is meron ka ng 10,000 pesos sa simula pa lang. Siguro hindi ganun kalaki yung 10,000 pesos para sa inyo, pero imagine if we are talking about 100,000 or millions. Kung hindi pa ready yung ganung kalaking capital, then PCA would be a great choice for you. Now, for example number 2, let's use an actual stock with actual stock prices. Let's use Ali or Ayala Land prices from March 20 to Feb 2021. Bakit yung period na to? Kasi ito yung kasagsagan ng pandemic and maraming stock sa bahay noon, kaya naging interested sila sa stock market. So yung strategy natin dito is to use 2,000 pesos every month, buy Ali every first day of the month for 12 months. For example, noong March 2, 2020, Ali's price was 39.8 pesos. This is a perfect opportunity to tell you na in the real stock market, merong minimum number of shares na dapat mong bilhin and any additional purchase should be a multiple of that number. Ang tawag natin dyan is board lot and magkakaiba yan per stock. For Ali, the board lot is 100 shares. So that means pwede kang bumili ng minimum 100, tapos pwede ka rin bumili ng 200 or 300 or any number as long as multiple siya ng 100. Okay, so gets mo na yung board lot ha? Pero for this example, we will not use it to keep things simple. For the first month, ang computation is 2,000 divided by 39.8 equals 50 shares. For April 1, the price is 31.15 and makakabili tayo ng 64 shares. On May 4, the price is 31.8.
5 years later.
After 12 months, ang total deployed capital natin is 24,000 pesos. The total number of Ali shares is 709, which brings your investment's value to 27,856.87 pesos. A whopping 16.07 profit. Hindi to buy recommendation na, pero yung ginawa lang natin is pumili tayo ng stock na may good track record, which is Ali, and bumili lang tayo every first day of the month. Ganun lang yung strategy. Easy. So again, just for the record, kung nag-lump sum ka instead of PCA, then your 24,000 pesos would have purchased 603 shares during the first month, and its value after 12 months is 23,697.9. That's a loss of 1.26%. So this is a perfect example na hindi palaging panalo yung lump sum over PCA, especially kung masyadong volatile or unpredictable yung market. So for the next example, gagawa sana ako ng isa pang demonstration kung paano gamitin yung PCA to an index. But then I realized that it's exactly the same except instead of stock price, we call it NAVPS. Tapos na, yun na yun. Okay, so it's time to choose an index fund. Gagamitin ko na lang yung broker ko, which is Call Financial, and choose among the index funds available in their platform. Assuming naka-login ka na, clicking the mutual fund tab will open another browser tab. Then navigate tayo papunta sa research page. So huwag kayong ma-overwhelm sa dami ng numbers kasi this is actually neatly arranged and categorized. Mapapansin nyo, merong different kinds of mutual funds which we already discussed in a previous video. Merong money market funds, bond funds, balanced funds, equity funds, and syempre yung special kind of equity fund which is an index fund. The last category is a feeder fund, which is just a mutual fund that allows us Filipinos to invest in global markets. So as mentioned, I will be investing 10,000 pesos into one of these equity index funds. And may ilan lang akong criteria when choosing an index fund, which will be suited for me, for my risk appetite, and which will maximize my investment. From this table, ang mahalaga lang sa akin ay year-to-date, 3-year returns, 5-year returns, returns since inception, management fee, and expense ratio. Disclaimer lang ulit no na itong 6 criteria are just my personal top priority and not necessarily the only things that you should be looking at. But as a beginner, I think these are the criteria that should help you hit the ground running. I will also be ignoring the first option, which is the First Metro Index Fund, kasi incomplete yung data niya. Kaya naman, goodbye contestant number 1. So with that said, we will be putting these 4 equity index funds in a head-to-head battle and bigyan natin sila ng labels: PAMI, PhilEquity, BIMI, and Sun Life. So yung first and third funds are actually provided by the same company, which is BPI Investment Management Inc. or BIMI. Pero para mas madali silang i-distinguish, let's call the first one PAMI from the name, from the mutual fund name, and then BIMI yung third from the provider's name. Okay, so let me explain how I'm going to do this. For every criteria, i-compare natin yung values ng mga funds and then rank them with 4 being the highest and 1 being the lowest. And after 6 rounds, i-deploy ko yung 10,000 pesos into the fund with the highest points. Yung first criteria natin is year-to-date. Year-to-date is just getting the profit or the loss since the first trading day of the year until the current day. For this criteria, higher is better. Okay, so for the first criteria, lahat sila ay negative. Pero panalo si PhilEquity at negative 1.92%, followed by Sun Life at negative 2.33%. Next is BIMI at negative 2.65%. And then last place, si PAMI at negative 3.08%. Second criteria for judging, 3-year returns. Compare mo lang yung current price with the price from exactly 3 years ago, and higher is better. So again, PhilEquity takes the crown for this round at negative 0.08% 3-year returns, followed by BIMI at negative 0.11%. Third place is Sun Life at negative 0.38%. And then lastly, PAMI at 0.92%. Third criteria for judging is 5-year returns. Ganun lang din, compare mo yung price today with the price exactly 5 years ago, and higher is better. PhilEquity receives 4 points for being the first place at negative 1.34%, followed by BIMI at negative 1.50%, followed closely by Sun Life at negative 1.55%, and then lastly, si PAMI at negative 2.12%. Yung fourth rubric natin is returns since inception or yung lifetime returns, and higher is better for this one. For this round, BIMI's lifetime returns exceed that of PhilEquity, kaya nauna si BIMI at 11.53%, and second place si PhilEquity at 8.30%. Third place si PAMI at negative 1.82%, and Sun Life at last place with negative 1.98%. So for the fifth criteria, we have management fee, and ito yung mga fees such as entry fee or sales load, saka yung mga annual fees. For this criteria, lower is better. Interesting round to kasi tied at first place si PhilEquity and si BIMI. Both of them have 1% management fees, so both of them receives 3.5 points each. Third place naman is Sun Life at 1.15% management fee, and finally PAMI in last place at 1.5%. So yung sixth criteria natin is expense ratio, and explain ko muna yung difference niya with management fee. Yung management fee, portion lang siya ng total expenses to manage a fund. Bukod sa management fee, meron pang operating expenses, saka taxes. Hindi natin i-discuss lahat to, pero just note that they are collectively known as the expense ratio, and lower is better. So for this round, Bimi has the lowest expense ratio at 1.18%. Second place, si Phil Equity at 1.39%. Third place naman si Sun Life at 1.56%. And lastly, PAMI at 1.9%. Okay, so here we go. After 6 grueling rounds, I will be investing in sobrang close fight nito and 1 point lang yung winning margin niya from the second place na si Bini. So since weekend ngayon, sa Monday ko pa malalaman kung pumasok yung investment ko. Pero wala pa namang instance in the past na na-reject yung investment. So I think it's safe to assume na natanggap nila and they will process it. Super simplified version lang ng peso cost averaging yung pinag-usapan natin dito. So if you want to know more about it, you can Google dollar cost averaging kasi pareho lang yan, pareho lang yung concepts and applications. Yung pinagkaiba lang talaga is yung currency. Or let me know in the comment section if may questions kayo kasi baka masagot natin. I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye!